are in competition to make the best party with the best Irish theme, but he doesn't want it to be just green and no leprechauns because he doesn't want any leprechauns. And I'm thinking that one of the things to help put her class over the top would be to make a batch of Irish soda bread and send it with her to school. Also, Irish soda bread does not take long at all. It doesn't, because you don't need to really have a let it rise like you would do with, or proof, like you would do with a regular bread. So we'll see. If I do happen to make the Irish soda bread, which I probably will, I'm going to take pictures and put them on Instagram, of course, and then I will also put them in, not the next episode of the podcast, but the episode afterwards. Okay, so that's that. Are you guys bakers? If so, let me know. I want to hear about it. What are you baking? What should I bake? I mean, have you guys tried something new, a recipe with something in it? Let me know. Okay. So let's talk about fabric. Fabric. Yeah. I might have a problem. It got kind of out of hand when I realized that I had kind of a lot of room to be storing stuff, which basically I don't. The only room that I have to store fabric would be in, well, I cleared out some drawers to tell you how much I have, and also just I have some space above the washer and dryer. Not anymore. At Headspace, there is no room for any more fabric, and now it's really starting to kill me, right? These fabrics right here I put because I wanted to show you, because these fabrics are fabrics that I am going to use to make myself aprons. Because I haven't made me a Nan one apron. Well, oh no, I've made me one apron, and it's a half apron, and I managed to give I didn't give it away, but I managed to give every apron that I've made since away to people. So now I'm kind of not having to make anyone gifts, no birthdays or presents coming up. I can make me an apron. I have one already cut out, and then all I have to do is sew it together. And by sew it together, I mean just sew on some bias binding, and I cut out the straps. I need to sew the straps on, and that is all. But this past week, I took some fabric that I had, which was very, very, very ugly to me. You might like it. Good for you. It's my fabric. I don't like it for anything. But I didn't want to not give it away. Well, who can you give it to? Seriously, I wouldn't give it away to anyone. I did not want to waste it, pretty much, right? Because I paid for it. It was like $5 a yard, and I had to have it. Which sounds all kind of wrong. But it came in a big old D-stash. So it just arrived like, who here? Okay. So what I did was, I decided that I would use the fabric as a foundation to make an apron. So I cut out the template out of the ugly fabric, and I took my friend Terry's scraps. This lady has so many awesome scraps of fabric from her stash. I took her scraps because I was at her house, and I had made her an apron, and I pieced her, and the technique would be more like foundation piecing. And foundation piecing is really when you use a piece of fabric as the foundation to add other pieces of fabric over, which is or to sew them to, okay? And I did it, and I didn't finish by the time I left her house. But I came home, and I finished it. The only thing that I didn't get from Terry was some bias binding, and I had purchased last year from a thrift shop a big lot of fabric for nothing. I mean, like a couple of dollars. It had to be $5 or $3. It had to be 5 yards of this fabric, right? I've already used some for one project, and I keep using it here and there, and I thought that it would make great bias binding for Terry's apron. So I cut the fabric up into strips and I attached it to her apron, and that was done, right? Oh, her straps I used. See, now I'm looking all over because I'm thinking, oh, I should have had it here to show you. I should have had it here to show you. I just get this podcast in when I can. So for her straps, I use fabric from a Jelly Roll. And a Jelly Roll is I think I explained this last week. A Jelly Roll is it's a 2.5-inch wide by width of fabric roll of a whole design of fabric, right? So I had one of the Jelly Rolls, and a Jelly Roll, just for you guys information, is a Moda trademark. I didn't know that, but it is, because I saw the TM behind it. I was like, really? They trademarked Jelly Roll? So you can only get Jelly Rolls from Moda. Other fabric companies call their 2.5-inch wide strips, 2.5-inch strips of fabric other things, okay? Anyways, I had used a Jelly Roll for the curtains that I was telling you guys about last week, so it was already broken into. And what I did was I folded the Jelly Roll, the fabric strips in fourths, sewed them up the open side so they were closed, and I used those as straps for her neck and her waist ties. Sewed all that together, and the last thing to do was to add a pocket, because Terry wanted a pocket on hers. She's right-handed, so I had to remember to put her pocket on her right-hand side too. And she also just got a new iPhone 6S, which is a big thing. And I can't talk because I like my Galaxy Notes. They're big. I had the Note 3 or whatever, and it was huge, and I loved it. So I knew pretty much how big to make it. So I was looking all over for fabric because I was at my house. And what I came across to make the pockets for her apron was 2 stray quilt blocks that she had just cast aside. And it was, here, Nikki, make these pin cushions or whatever. Instead, I sewed them together, right sides. First, I sewed them right sides together. But this would be the right sides, right? I sewed them right side together, and I left a little opening for turning. I turned it inside out, stitched, and then I stitched the open side down to the pocket, or so I thought, to the body of the apron, sewed around, and she had a pocket out of her own fabric that she made, and also it was really double-sided. Winning, right? Until I finished, and I realized that I did not sew. I left the opening part at the top of the apron, at the top of the pocket, not the top of the top of the pocket. So that means there was a hole in her pocket. No problem. I took a needle and thread and just ladder stitched it together. Okay? Okay. If you guys don't know any of these terms that I'm using, feel free to Google them. They will come up immediately. There are bunches of videos on them. Okay? Okay. I have pictures of her apron. I don't have the apron because I gave it to her finally. I did the Nikki. I took it to her house and then I snipped all the little strings off and I'm like, here. She's like, thank you, I love it. And I'm like, you should, because it's your fabric, right? So yeah, she loved it. And I took a picture on her floor right before I gave it to her. And I am uploading the picture of the apron. It'll be at the end of this podcast. And I'm also uploading, this week I also made a couple of fabric weights. And I used some washers, Mod Podge, strips of fabric, and I think that's it. And a brush, of course, to apply the Mod Podge. I took a picture of what I used. I didn't take a picture of the finished product because I don't know why, but I will. How about that? I'll take a picture of the finished washers and I'll put them at the end of the podcast too. And speaking of the end of the podcast, this is about 30 minutes. See, I'm trying to rush before my husband walks in and, he's expecting lunch or a piece of bread with butter at least. So it's time for me to go. I have a positive tip for you guys. And the positive tip is find a way that's good for you to say no, buzz off. Like, think about it. really plan for it. Just plan for it. Plan for it. Because, okay, I got like a couple of minutes. Okay, can we talk? So, this morning when I woke up, I got in inbox, or as the young people like to say, DM, which means direct message for all you guys who didn't know, right? I got a DM in my Instagram box, and it was from a friend, not even a friend. Well, we grew up on the same block. Her mother, who was on drugs hardcore, was my godmother. She's older than I am. She has grown children, okay? But we grew up on the same block. We know each other. We're friendly on Instagram and Facebook, right? This beautiful young person, this beautiful person sent me a direct message in Instagram, and she says, basically, hi. And then she sends me a picture of a girl in a mermaid bottom, which is knitted. I can totally tell that it's knitted, right? And I think these things are all the rage, which is good that I don't have any daughters, because there's no way I'm making it for any of my kids. Okay, so she says, can you make one of these for my daughter's birthday? And I was livid. I am not all the time happy, especially in the morning before I have my coffee and I'm checking. I go on Instagram to get pumped up for the day and just to see beautiful pictures and stuff, and to see this message. And it's like, oh, hey, haven't spoken to you for a while. I haven't done anything for you or your kids or whatever. Can you do something for me? And that is exactly how I took it. And when people come at me foul, which is coming me wrong, I get all kind of crazy. And it took everything for me to take a moment and just say, and not say, go take a long walk off a short pier and the nerve of you. But honestly, the nerve of people, they have no idea what we put into these crafts that we do. So I guess a great majority of people don't. Also, I don't do commission knitting ever. I've never done it. I've never put it out there. There's no reason for her to ever think. So, after I didn't respond to it immediately, and I just went in and just pulled out a canned response. And my canned response to, hey, can you do this for my child, is basically to nicely say, you are aware that I have teenagers, 2 teens, okay, and living in the house. Teenagers, animals, a husband, a home, on top of my daily chores. So my crafting time is my time, and I do what I want to do with my time, period. And that was pretty much it. I also went in to explain to her that there is no way that I would expect anyone to pay me what I expect to be paid for 50 hours of knitting this, at least for me, this mermaid thing, on top of supplies, on top of shipping. Period. I wouldn't expect anyone. I want a crazy amount of money for that. If I have to neglect a lot of things for this woman's child, she has to pay out the nose. And trust me, $10 an hour for a crafter is not okay when people want $10 an hour to slang burgers. And trust me, I slung burgers at, not even at McDonald's, worse, Disneyland. So no, but that was a very nice way of saying no thank you. And I also told her that she can look for people that do commission work. I'm sure you can find them on Etsy or Google it. That's exactly what I told her. But that was a nice way of saying good luck and nice hearing from you. So people, if you put your crafting up on any kind of social media, just have a canned response ready to whip out just for situations like that. And when it happens to you, let me know, and let me know what you said. Okay? Okay. So, that's it, you guys. Oh, we made it. Oh, next week, we are going to go to my friend Terry's house. I've been talking about her. Every Wednesday, I go to her house for quilt day. I'm taking you guys with me. Terry is like me, an introvert. Can you tell I'm super introverted? But she is. She's a very shy woman. But she has agreed to do a quick interview, and then we're going to do a show and tell, which is how I met her, at a show and tell at a quilt shop. She is I wrote it down what she is. She is a hand quilter, and she specializes, to me, that's in needle turn applique, all by hand. And when I say she hand quilts, I mean she will get she machine pieces, but she hand needle turns. Well, it's by hand, it's needle turn, and she will sit down and hand quilt those bad boys together. So we're going to visit her next week. That's a heads up for all of you guys who are not interested in quilting, and who don't want to see a whole lot of pretty. Okay? But the show after that one will be back to our regular chit chat. So thank you guys for joining me here in my home. I hope you guys have a wonderful week of doing whatever makes your heart happy, be it knitting, crocheting, quilting, baking especially. And I hope that you guys will come back here next time where I'll be positively crafting.